Hello everybody, I'm Kate Foggo and this is Julie Hurt and we are making light. We're also two humans being, making light, two humans being. So Julie was kind enough to humour me this week. I've had a number of little epiphanies and not incidents isn't the right word. The sheep around me are teaching me lessons and I get all caught up in it, and then I get in my head making it all up and all of this. It's one thing about animal communication is I find it easy to for other people now because I have no expectation, because I have no agenda. I don't know what the answer should be. The problem of talking to your own animals or animals where there is a right answer that you want to hear, I'm worried that I am creating that answer in order to make myself feel better. So I just asked Julie, which we're supposed to just trust, but sometimes we need a little help with that. So please enjoy this episode and see where it goes. So for the benefit of the recording, I've asked Julie to connect to one of the sheep that I have been having conversations with, partly to get validation, which is a no-no in our one of the things about animal communications, you have to learn to trust and not to be attached to the outcome. However, in this case, it's to sort of prove a point to me in order to allow me to let go, and we can elaborate on that. Although there is a risk, of course, that in you doing this, that shoots my entire theory down in flames. So we'll see. We'll see. So, Julie, I want you to connect with Tinkerbell.
Okay.
And for the benefit of the recording as well, you know, we are not talking to Tinkerbell about her owner or her life with her owner, but about my relationship with Tinkerbell. So normally we would not connect with other people's animals, but sheep are semi-wild and whatever, and you can always ask them about your relationship with the animal. It's not really any of my business whether Tinkerbell's well looked after, whether she's well cared for or whatever. All those things are off limits technically, but this is about, because she lives next door to me and I observe her and I think she's teaching me something, her and all the other sheep. But this is little Tinkerbell.
Okay. Yeah, can I comment on something before I start?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a dog last year. You were with me online when we found the dog. The dog had been missing. We knew where the dog was, but the dog was lost for 2 weeks. And I had been helping as an animal communicator, helping the actual physical search party connect with the dog and find being able to bring the dog back in home. And so anyways, from time to time, this dog actually is dog sat by one of the women that we were all working together as a team. And so she sometimes she'll hang out with this woman that's the dog sitter. The dog herself is not having a great time with the home where she is, for a variety of reasons. But when she's with one of the women, the team, if you will, when she's with one of the team members, I can check in with the dog and ask, how are you doing in your current with the dog sitter? What does the dog sitter need to know to help you have a good time or what? So yes, to your point about you can talk to them in terms of the person that's right there, that's absolutely fine. Anything that if I were to ask what can so-and-so do, or what do we need to know about your home life, that crosses an ethical boundary, because you're right. And
also, never mind the ethics of it, like what would you do with that information? I mean, what you could not do anything. You can't show up at someone's door and say, your dog's told me that you're not looking like, you know, so right. There's a million reasons why you just don't go there. Right. And I'm beginning to realize that in a lot of things is, you know, I get all worried about, the animal's trying to, you know, my whole worry about the sheep, but again, you know, is this something, does the farmer know this has happened? Should I tell the farmer? Because, you know, of course they know where they are. It's just me and I'm learning that. They know exactly where all their sheep are at all times. They're all very well cared for, Kate. Mind your own business. But it's also like, you know, if they are struggling with something other than being stuck in a ditch where I could physically go and pull them out, if there's anything else, what am I going to do about it? Like, what am I going to do about it? And this is something we forget. It's like I'm so driven by this need to fix everything. And I very rarely stop and think, okay, so imagine that sheep does need help and does need medical this and does need that. What am I going to do about it? The farmer knows she's ill, you know, that sort of thing. And there's this, I'm learning that there's, I don't want to say arrogance because that makes it sound uncaring, but there is a level of arrogance in me that's sort of like, I'm the only person in the world that can care for these animals. It's just like, it's just not true. You know, it's so easy to look at other people's relationships with their animals and think you can do better, or that you'll do it, you know, you somehow love animals more than other people, or care for them in a different or better way. Right.
Yeah, and that's the ethical boundary. Like, I can't, if I were to tap into the dog's main guardian and that guardian isn't willing to do anything, let alone listen to me, but, or the animal, I should say, and do anything about it, then I've also disappointed the animal. So I've disrespected what the animal, because I can't help, you know, in that regard. So it's like, don't ask if you can't help, kind of a thing. So, okay. So Tinkerbell, female sheep, alive. Okay. All right, I'm just going to take some deep breaths here. So I feel like, though, too, I need to connect in with you, Kate. So that's
Okay.
And just get a sense of bits of your personality that are but I know you, but this is what's interesting, because to me, for me, when I connect in with the human, many times the animal will come back around and use those bits of your personality to help explain what they're working with you on, or how they're working with you. So when I said, you know, I feel like, because like Tinkerbell was like, nope, go to her, and my guides were like, nope, back up, go to Kate. So when I said that, the first thing I see is, so there's an emoji that you can do, it's this, where the hand is on the, you know, and I know this, right? You're always like thinking, is this the right thing? Or you're like investigation. And because the next thing I see is like you being Nancy Drew with a magnifying glass and like looking at every little, like, remember how I was talking earlier before we started about mosses and lichens? Like, I just see you looking at every little, like the tiniest little, you can see all 9 million organisms in a spoonful of dirt. Like, that's how I see that. So she's showing me that about your personality. Then the next thing I see is you biting into a really beautiful, delicious apple.
I'm glad you didn't say lamb sandwich.
No, it's an apple, but there's it's you biting into the apple, and the first thing it made me think of is the story of Eve biting into the apple.
Original sin.
But no. So the way the patriarchy wants you to know about that is not what we're talking about here today, which was original sin. The way that really, in a retelling of the story from a divine feminine perspective, and this is what she's trying to show me, is you biting into the apple is a representation of you having the knowledge, or wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom. Wisdom is divine feminine, knowledge is divine masculine. This is about divine feminine. Sorry, it's getting deep, and which we can explain this later. Anywhoozle, you biting into that apple is the immediate connection that you have with wisdom inherent. So you're not only getting more wisdom as you bite into the apple, you're also calling up the wisdom you already have coursing through your veins. So biting into the apple helps you reconnect with the wisdom that you already have in yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see you holding a bouquet of spring flowers, and you're doing a little, like, I see you doing like, okay, so I know you're in Scotland, so it's very much like what I see in Outlander, the pagan ritual that they have at the beginning of Outlander, and you're dancing around in like this sheery, flowy dress with a crown of wildflowers and you're just handing out everybody a flower. Spring, it's spring, it's spring, it's spring, it's spring. I don't really think you would do that in real life, but I see you doing that. And at the same time, exact same time, then I see you sitting in a hot tub, but it's a big wooden one. It's almost like a huge whiskey barrel. It's a hot tub made out of a big whiskey barrel kind of a thing. And you are just luxuriating in the warmth and allowing yourself to kick back and let, I hear the phrase like water flow over you, around you, surround you, and that gravity, the letting go of gravity, and the weight, like the moment you're in the water, the moment you're in the water, it's just like letting go. But there's just more of a floating feeling and a warmth feeling, because I know you like to swim in cold water. So, but there's that aspect, and it feels very womb-like. And I even hear the word womb, like it's a moment of you being cared for completely, because you let go and just kind of let other things come to you to nurture you. I hear her say, and then also just this ability to be gravity free is what I hear. Is that, it may not resonate, but I don't know, it makes sense.
It's the feeling I try to conjure up during meditation.
Oh.
Not specifically about a hot tub, but about, so I was trying to do today, it's sort of like, instead of even talking about like the sunshine and the warmth, and trying to imagine what that's like all the time, and even just having a fluffy blanket around me, which I do. And this morning I was thinking that, you know, just even the fluffy blanket on my face, and that, like, that's enough, isn't it, to get your vibration up. I don't, you know, this was a conversation I had with Louise yesterday, when I was saying how I so want to live somewhere warmer, but it's because of everything that being warm represents to me, which is freedom technically, because when you live in a cold country, you can't go anywhere. You have to have oil, you know, you have to have electricity. You can't just go and sleep on the beach. You have to take a coat, and you have to take waterproofs and shoes. And so living in a hot country for me represents so much more than just the warmth. It represents a freedom. But you know, that step we were talking about was trying to in meditation to sort of get that vibration of what I want, which is that. So I can't think of freedom because my brain can't grab that, but it can grab feeling cozy, and I can. So anyway, I think that's what that's about. Yeah.
There's an element of being cared for or taking care of yourself. There's a care aspect, and like it keeps weaving its way around my body. Like, yeah, a letting care in kind of a thing. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else? No, that's what, okay. So I'm going to ask Tinkerbell, see if I can connect in with her and just get a sense of her. So I hear her say, well, first of all, as she comes towards me, she's just, I feel like she is like light on her feet, because I just see her doing like ding, 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 like just kind of bouncing around. But it's not like a hard, like sometimes animals will come into me like Tigger, where they're bouncing, and she's not. It's more, there's a little bit of a grace to it. There's an ease to it. There is just a joy to it. Not that there isn't with Tigger, but this just feels so much lighter. And when I hear the word innocence too, there's just this whole feeling of to do, like I'll do one and then I'll do another. Like there's also breath in between the bing, 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 bings. Does that make sense?
Totally. I mean, she doesn't bounce, but she's just always on a mission. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh.
She moves really, 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 you know, almost like an insect. She just moves really, and she's just like so I don't want to say headstrong, because I don't think it's that, but it's just like she's just always ding, 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 ding. It is, and I actually think she is the sheep. I don't know if I told you, this is nearly a year ago, if not more, that we found. Garrett said there was a sheep stuck, because you know, if they get stuck lying down, it's really dangerous for them if they can't get up.
Okay.
And he said there's a sheep in the field and she hasn't got up for a while, and it was early morning, and I went out, and she had just got there up there there's some really big tufts of grass, and it's just the way she was wedged that she couldn't get her legs back on the ground. So I thought, I'll tell you more on that later. And I just lifted her to her feet. And she was like, it was like picking up a Jack Russell dog. She was so light. Like, I mean, these are beefy. Well, they're obviously not beefy. It must just be her hair. But even had that been a dog, even if you imagined her with no wool on her, she would still have been a heifer. And they're just so, she was so light. Literally, it was like, it completely threw me because I was sort of like ready to pick her up. It's like, she was, anyway, yes, that's definitely her. And the innocence, just totally. And I'll tell you again why later.
Okay. Yeah. I was asking, let's see. She's asking what else she wants us to know about her personality. And she's just showing me like looking, like enjoying. She's very present in that every moment she's present in the moment that she's in. So like right now she's showing me like eating some grass, and she's all about that little pocket of grass and how good that pocket of grass tastes right now. Like I'm starting to, like I'm salivating. And it's just, you know, every bite, and then she just chews it, and she almost like, it's like a meditative chew, because then I can see her like eyes roll back, and she's like, oh, so good, such good grass, such good grass. And she swallows it, and she sits there for a minute, you know, and she thinks about taking some more. So it's just like every single thing is, she's just really present. And then she may hear a noise and she'll be like, all right, well, that's gone now. Okay, then she goes right back to whatever it is she wants to do. She's very light, like she was light when I was describing that, but this is actually a feeling of very heavy, grounded. Like I just feel really, I feel very much in my body and in the moment in that time. Does that make sense to you too?
Totally.
And then she's showing me, well, she's doing two things. First of all, well, it morphed. So first she kind of raised her, right? Wait, which one? This one? Yeah, this is the eyebrow. She raised this eyebrow and was like, yes, what you need to know. But she's being cheeky because she's just trying to do it more in like the old school fortune teller, Russian, or, you know, gypsy woman with the thing. But at the same time, then she also, these eyebrows become like Groucho Marx. Do you know him from the back in the, and they were really super thick, and she's just like playing with both of them. And I can't make my face move that way, but she's like raising each one of them, and she's like, and then she's got a cigar and she's like, yeah, let's have some fun. Not that that's his accent, because that's not, but but so there's she in the first with the fortune teller, I feel like a very wise feminine energy, been around multiple times, here to teach us. And at the same time, there is this moment of comedy and play through comedy is what, so those are those two things. Does that make sense? Okay. Is there anything else? She's like, no. Okay. She doesn't, that's all we need to know about your guys' personalities for today. So you want me to ask her a question?
Just ask her why she's always by herself.
Well, the first thing I hear is I don't need to have people close to me, but at the exact same time, she isn't, how do I say this? Ask her how to say this. Okay, so here's what she shows me. She shows me her by herself, and she's in this huge pasture. And you see her singular. However, for her, she shows me a line to the sheep way over to here, way over here, way over here. And it's like for her, she shows me like the center of a like bicycle wheel, and there's spokes to all the other sheep. So, and she knows where each one is, who each one is, where they are, and they move. She shows me the wheel like moving. If she's the center, like, and I'm in a chair that swivels, so she does this, and all of the spokes go along with her center. And each other sheep she shows me, like, then she's showing me like Bobby. I hear the word Bobby. She shows me a sheep named Bobby. And Bobby is the same way, center. And then when he moves, everybody moves around with Bobby. So they're all, it's like these, it's like gears almost. And they're kind of, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you want clarified with that?
I know the answer to this, but I guess the validation would help me. That she's happy with that flock, and she's not bullied by them. Is that ethically okay to ask?
Well, yeah, if I ask, yes, because in there is a lesson of human interpretation.
Thank you.
Versus
Bingo.
She's like, bully? You want to call it that? We call it, well, I hear games. I hear the phrase games. I hear the phrase play. I also hear there is an order to things, but it's not stationary.
Okay.
The order is not stationary. It is constantly changing. She says the same thing to some degree with chickens. There is an order to things, but it can be in flux.
That's where henpecked comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pecking order.
Yeah, which I saw some chickens the other day that had some patches of no feathers on them, and I thought, oh, that's a whole.
Yeah, but oh no, you don't have bird flu, do you? Because here they've been locked up for 4 months. They'll be going crazy. They'll be tearing feathers off each other.
No, but something just. We'll come back to it, but there was something that just broke out in. No, there is. In Wisconsin, they just. We'll talk about it later. We don't want to do. No, she's saying don't go there.
I am delighted and excited because you've confirmed, okay, with more clarity than I had, because obviously I'm attached to her. What I understood she was doing for me and with me, and I'll explain to you the rest then.
Okay, you don't want to ask her anything else?
No, I think that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, she is very sweet. She thinks you want something else. That's why she's like, are you sure you don't want to ask me something else? I'm here.
Well, I was going to ask what the lesson is, but I think you've already told me.
The lesson in
what she's teaching me.
Oh. Yeah. I'm just double check. So she's showing me, so here's what when you say that, I said that, she's like, yes, there's lessons in how I gave you Kate's personality. There's lessons in how I expressed my personality. And then even when we were talking prior to the connection, the lessons of being present and not worrying about what you've said in the past, meaning when you wake up in the morning and you analyze what you've said, possibly, you were giving it as an example of, when you've had too much to drink the night before, did you say too much? Did you like, you're present. There's nothing, once you're just present, none of it matters on the other end, on either end of that spectrum, besides being present. And knowing that you do this, the overanalyze or whatever, that's what I hear her say. You just have, that's just you. And that's
that is word for word what Sally told. I had a reading with Heather because I gave Heather and I swapped readings.
Heather Toller, who we can.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's word for word what she said, that Sally said.
Oh.
Is that this is me. And to stop trying to talk myself out of being that person and embrace it because it was good.
Yeah. Well, okay, so so this is why she wanted you to continue. This is why Tinkerbell wanted you to continue, because here's what Tinkerbell is saying right now. In this is the stuff, this is your piece of pie. Like, how I always say, this is your piece of pie. This is your Kateness, as our teacher Danielle says it too. Your overanalyst, and that's us just putting a label on it. Your analysis of any situation helps others who are coming into the light realize that it's safe to be here. So don't stop. By any means, don't stop.
That is so validating, Judy, for 100 reasons.
Yeah. She's like, don't stop. Like, offer that analysis all the time. In context, I hear her say, with the reassurance of being in the light. So for those that analyze, you're going to pull the ones that analyze and say, but it's okay, because here we are, we'll just be present. Does that make sense?
Totally. Just writing it down. Words of wisdom from Tinkerbell.
Yeah. I hear her say, by the way, that she's always with you. You've been with her before, and you will be with her again, meaning when her life is past this time. I feel like she, in a form or other, will continually come to you, even if she's no longer on this physical earth.
She's my soul family.
Yeah. Oh, she's like, Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like she likes the sheep form to come to you. I mean, she likes being in a sheep form to come to you, and this onion that we call life, that we keep peeling back the layers. She's with you as a sheep in the different layers as you go on. So whatever happens to her this season, I don't know about. I don't personally, I don't know if I want to know, but anyway.
I think she's safe. I don't know.
Okay. But when she crosses, she may come back as another, you might see her again as another lamb, or just know that she's around. She's not, and she doesn't always have to be in physical form, as we both know. She will always be around, and you can ask her where she is at any given time. But yeah. Okay. Does that make sense? She feels like now you've heard what she's really trying to tell you. Okay. Does that make
sense? Not sure I could tell the farmer that her sheep is my soul family.
Is this the farm? Okay.
Well, I don't know if she's still the farmer's sheep, because well, if you disconnect with her, I'll tell you the story.
Because she says you can. Okay, she just says you can. I'll say, she's like, are we okay if I let you go now? And she's saying to me, yes, we're good. I'm disconnecting. Like, thank you very much. Disconnecting. She's kind of doing that graceful ping ping, that lightly ping away.
She just like trots everywhere at a really fast pace. And so do you remember I told you that one of the sheep had epilepsy?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's her.
Oh.
And I didn't realize until, because she was standing in the field, I haven't seen her fit. I'd seen her get up after a fit, which is like when I said I found her in the grass, I actually realized now that she'd probably just had a fit, and apparently she has a fit probably every day, but she just has a fit and then she recovers from it. There's nothing they can do about it. But she didn't grow. She's like couldn't keep her, and she was being bullied by the bigger flock of the wider community, and didn't know what to do with her, because she can't be put into lamb, or what, I don't know. I think she's not big enough, because she never grew. But the lady who keeps her sheep next door, so I'm surrounded by farm, but a little bit of the fields that are just near me are let out to this lady who has a little flock of 10 sheep, and these are what I call a hobby sheep, because they're really friendly and they're not put to lamb, and that. So she's in with them now. I didn't realize, so I don't know if she must be maybe a year old or more, I don't know, but I didn't realize that she was one of those that had joined this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's an ex-farm that is now part of the sort of pet sheep, if you like. But the fact that she had been bullied before, I have not seen any evidence of that in this. So we were talking, so I phoned the farmer to say she's just standing in the field, because she was just standing, and then all the time I was out there, it was 10-15 minutes, she had not moved, and she just had her head really, really low, and there's a little bit of dribble hanging out her mouth. I couldn't see her face, I could just see it. And I phoned her just to say, look, it may be the one that has epilepsy, I don't know, but just to let you know, she's just standing in the field, not moving. And she confirmed that it's the one that has happened. She says it sounds like she's just had another fit. And sure enough, as I was talking to the farmer on the phone, because I could see her, she then started moving around a bit, and I could see that she was fine. And one of the other sheep, because I was like, because this is actually the one that I called Gregory's girl and posted in the group to say she's teaching me. Like, I didn't want to tell you that because I didn't want to cloud the issue.
Okay.
I didn't realize that was Tinkerbell. Like, I knew about Tinkerbell, but I didn't realize that that was the same sheep.
Oh, Gregory's girl and Tinkerbell are the same sheep?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But the farmer had sort of said, because she's not all there, because she's got epilepsy or whatever, and she said, I didn't know you could connect. And this is what I was saying, I was just saying too much, and suddenly I'm like, this woman's going to think I'm a complete nutter, hopefully just in a sort of gentle font rather than a screaming loon. But I have to be really careful, because I don't interfere with how other people keep their animals. I only, when I phone her, I'm always like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I should tell you, but I couldn't live with myself if I didn't tell you. And she's like, she says, I love it. She says, because we can't be everywhere at once, and I would rather you told me and it was nothing than said, oh yeah, when you're standing over a dead sheep going, oh yeah, well, I noticed she was a bit off yesterday, but I didn't want to bother you. It's like, so we were talking about Tinkerbell, and she was sort of saying, well, I didn't think you'd be able to connect with her because she's a bit lacking perhaps in mental capacity. And I said, we're all the same at the soul level. And then I'm like, what are you saying, Kate? Like, just stop talking. Just stop talking. Couldn't stop myself. And then, of course, I found myself going down the rabbit hole of saying, I don't ask her anything about you. This is just about my relationship. It's just like, just shut up, Kate. She doesn't, I don't think she minds at all. But that's what brought this all up. So I had then connected with Tinkerbell again and said what I got before, because now I'm thinking, have I made all this up? She's telling me that in the past she was bullied by the sheep and that's why she had to be separated. I have just posted to all our community how she's teaching me a lesson that she wants to be off on her own. And this is where I get into the like, oh my God, have I just made all this stuff up because it suits me, because it makes me feel better so that I don't feel sorry when I see Tinkerbell on her own, because Tinkerbell has told me that she's perfectly happy on her own, that she chooses to be on her own, and that's just what she does. She's just doing her stuff. She thinks nothing of it, which is what you got. And then I connected with her again and said, sorry for my insecurities, but can we just go over all this again? And I got the same sort of stuff. And then I connected to, as I was watching her come round, when I was on the phone to the farmer, one of the other sheep had come over and just like touched her on the nose with her nose and walked off, and it's almost like it brought her around a bit. And like, that to me is evidence of relationships between them. Even though she's always on her own, I think she has a relationship with them. And I sort of heard from the other sheep that I connected to sort of step forward and said, well, we know she's different. She's energetically different from us, and she goes away sometimes, and that'd be when she's having a fit. She just goes away sometimes. And she said, I just touched on her nose because I could see she was coming back, and I'm oh. So this is what it was all about. I wanted that reassurance because I am still so afraid that I know it's harmless if I'm making it up. It's harmless for me. But if I then share that truth with someone else, like the farmer, I didn't particularly about that situation, but there were elements of it. And again, it's not life and death. But you can imagine a situation where you do share it and there are repercussions. What if it's not true? Then all my doubts come in. And then I don't know if it was this, she wasn't Annabelle, it was Samantha, the other sheep that come in, or whether it was my meditation later where Twiggy the cat came in and it was sort of saying, but it is your truth. And if it's your truth, it's your reality. And until you live in your reality, as long as you're looking around the edges for reassurance, it can't be true. Almost, it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that I have to believe it's not that I have to believe, but unless I believe it to be true, I can't create the reality I want. So whether it's the thought that comes first or the reality that comes first, and that they're sort of telling me that they are the same thing, that if I want these animals to live in harmony, then I have to believe they live in harmony. And in order for me to believe they live in harmony, I have to see that they live in harmony, and then I can see they live in harmony, and then they can live in harmony. It's like chicken and egg.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I took from all of that is that I guess that's it. I just wanted reassurance that it's okay for me to believe that my truth is true enough to share with other people.
Yes. Resounding. Like my guides are like going, yes, like right here. The other thing though that they
That's
want you to know,
huge. Sorry.
the other thing they want you to know in context of that is your truth is your truth for now. Your truth constantly is evolving. And so you will be shown things for your truth and for what you can understand and comprehend now. And then as you grab a hold of that, sit in that, the next thing comes, and then the next thing comes, and then the next thing comes. So the truth is the truth. It's always evolving, the truth, but it's still the truth. Just like how we always say there's no right or wrong. There's just, there is.
And there's nothing.
Yeah. And
there's no such thing as truth, really, is it? It's just
right.
my perspective.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So do you present your perspective as truth? I guess that's the question. I don't mean going up to people and forcing it at them, but if it comes up, do you unapologetically present your perspective as truth?
I present it as my truth. In that, and I watched our teacher do this too, and I think this is where it started to evolve for me, is because she has yes. experiences that rival. I will say that might be it might be an odd word, but some people, for example, as far as the animals go, some people believe that their animal reincarnates time after time after time in the current human's lifetime. And it is our teacher's experience. She has not witnessed that. She doesn't say it's not true. She says, in my experience, that's not what I've encountered. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. If I speak my truth, whoever wants to relate to it, totally fine. And they may have a truth that I'm like, oh, look at that. It expands my truth when I hear, when I hear how Danielle speaks about animals, or when I hear Radley Valentine speak about angels, or, but I always talk about it in terms of my experience, because that's what I know. That's what we offer, is our experience. And however we can help someone with our experience, it just creates, this is what the guides are showing me. My experience, Kate's experience, coming together makes light, right? It's like without our different experiences, without our different experiences coming together to have these conversations would be like, we're not a homogeneous species.
That's probably people go, look, they are.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a Frank Skinner thing. He's always making fun of the fact that, do we still have any? Is anyone actually listening to this? Do we have any?
Yeah.
All of our two he calls them readers, not listeners.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes irrelevant in terms of which came first, my perception of the animals all happy together, or my or them telling me that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So here's what my guides say. Linear is an illusion. Time is an illusion. It was always there. It was always there. When things became Kate's experience, that's a moment, but they were always there. They will always be there.
And that's the other bit of, and you've put it very well there, because I wasn't sure how to put it, but that's the other bit of it is, I'm not saying that animals, that I'm not communicating, but I do think there's actually more to it than what we think. And that the reason I'm getting that positive validation from Tinkerbell is because actually I have already observed it, whether or not I have processed it consciously. It's putting a voice to something that actually I already know to be true, because I have absorbed it without consciously processing it. So I am literally making it more real by vocalizing something that I already knew.
Yes, good point.
Hurrah! We're there. Right, I'm in, Julia. I am 100% in now. So fuck the truth. Whatever I see, hear, smell, believe is now my truth. No more apologies, no more hesitation, no more doubt. I may choose who to share it with, but if I choose to share it, it's my truth as I perceive it.
Right.
Good.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah.
Stop looking around the corner, as Twiggy was saying. Stop looking under the curtains for doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not contradicting Twiggy by any means. I feel like there's a layer there though. Like, don't be looking to dispel your truth. But feel free to look to grow your truth. You know what I mean?
No, but yes, it was more, she said it a lot better than that. It was more sort of like, you cannot be in your reality if you're always checking sort of back, checking up on it, almost like, are we sure this is true? Are we sure? It's like, you've got to live in your reality. It can't be your reality unless you commit to it, as it were.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, I totally get that, because that's interesting that you said the over-analysis helps other people coming into the light to be safe. I had a conversation with another friend about the sort of how I'd said to you, sort of jumping right in and being really woo-woo about things, and I have a hesitation, and is it because I don't believe, or is it because I don't want people to see me that way? And I had a big conversation about that with you, and I've had it again with another friend, and I think there is an element of it is because I want to be that person that can bridge the gap between over analytical people. Like, just because you're over analytical or you're scientific or you're all these things doesn't mean that you can't access spiritual, I don't like the word spirituality, but you know what I mean. They don't have to be in conflict, and I think that's important for me, rightly or wrongly, that I want to stay in the vaguely analytical camp because it holds more gravitas for the people who I am likely to attract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By that, I don't know that that's a compliment, is it? No, for them, the nerds.
Saw the eye roll. Yeah, it's fine.
The nerds of the world, right? Oh, that's so sweet, little Tinkerbell.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Making Light Two Humans Being. I'm Julie here. As always, with me is Kate Foggo. We hope you enjoyed this episode where we went into Tinkerbell's message for Kate. So very profound. And we've tied a little bit into Twiggy's too, I thought. So that was kind of cool. If you like what we have to say or want to subscribe, that would be wonderful. We would so appreciate it. You can also ding that little bell and you'll be notified when we have a new episode. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. All the links to everything are below. So feel free to like and subscribe. That way others can find us too. If you have any comments or feedback on this episode or any of our other episodes, please leave comments. We really want to hear from you. And you can also let us know about any other topics that interest you that you would like us to discuss as Making Light Two Humans Being. We hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful week. See you then. Bye.